Hey folks, it's Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates. Sorry we're late. Sorry I'm late tonight, but I had a late client, and that's why the show's on late tonight. My lovely wife is in Alabama, and she is taking care of some business, and she will be back tomorrow, and I miss her terribly. So let me catch you up with some things. Robert, gotta do what you gotta do, says Robert. So I just saw 9 hours of clients in about 10 hours, so my brain is fried. And y'all know when my brain is fried, I act especially goofy. Hi, Sarah. Hey, Andy. How's it going? I'm tired, and my brain is fried. Hi, Kelly. Long day. With some clients, I'm just about as brilliant a therapist as there is going, and then other therapists, I'm terrible. We all get goofy when we get tired, Robert says. You can't hear me. You know what? I'm going to turn off the air conditioner. I think that's the problem. Air conditioner time to turn off. I'm going to turn on the ceiling fan. How's that? Is that better on the sound? Hi there, Baska. Let me know. It's Polish night. No, the sound isn't better. Oh, how about if I turn it up? How about that? I bet that's better. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Okay, so got it. Thank you. So let me just share some things. Is Jackie back? I hadn't heard from her. I hadn't seen her. Jackie's here. Last week we had to do the show without. There she is. Loving that. Hey, what do you think of my hat, man? Isn't that sweet? I got that for $9.95. Anyway, you're welcome. My lovely wife and I have really been settling into this beach thing. And we haven't been going back and forth to Indianapolis. Thank you. And we got to just spend some quality time together this weekend. We went to an aquarium, hung out with sharks. I'll show y'all a picture. That's a picture of well, let me find it here. I don't know if y'all can see. It's Brenda, and she's in a tube underwater. So anyway, we went to a restaurant, Paula Deen. Has anybody ever heard of Paula Deen? Some kind of southern cook lady. I tell you what, that's about the best meal I've ever had in my life. Everything I had just like pow, exploded with flavor. And we just had a really good time. We just connected and really put some deposits in the emotional bank account. What else? So if y'all haven't seen the video, I made a video. Do not let your narcissistic parents off the hook. And let me back up. I made a note and I didn't know what. You know what I did? I put Renda and I's wedding on our YouTube channel. If you guys haven't seen that, let me sign in here. I put there we are. Oh, I gotta turn this off. I just hadn't had a chance to edit it. Now I gotta turn this. I'm gonna get this right here. Okay, there we go. Now we're cooking. I hadn't had a chance to edit it, and I finally sat down and edited it and cut off the beginning and the end. And Sarah, you were bugging us about wedding pictures. You got the whole wedding ceremony on YouTube. So the missus is in Alabama, Jackie. She had some business to take care of. Thank you, Basic, I guess her name is. She actually was closing on a house, and she will be back tomorrow, and I'm just lost without her. I tell you what, I'm lost without her. Okay, let's see. Make this a little. Okay, so what I was saying is I made a video. Don't let your narcissistic parents off the hook, and it's a combination of three things. One, it was the movie The Glass Castle, and don't go see it. That movie was friggin' painful. I tell you what, I do have one question, and it's sort of based on the movie, or the video and the movie. But just a horrific rendering of an alcoholic family, just horrible. And I was just in pain through the whole thing. And then they get to the end, and they basically, instead of being angry with this total off the hook narcissist, just raging alcoholic, a codependent mother, they made fucking heroes out of them. They got to the end of the movie, and they were showing the mom and showing the dad, and they were crying, they were toasting. It was the narcissistic dad was played by Woody Harrelson, and he did a brilliant job. Crazy eyes, you know. But I'll tell you something. I was so angry that they would. I'm just so angry that they showed such arrogant, selfish, narcissistic parents and honored them in film. Those parents should get no honor. They should be dishonored. Oh, it bothered me. You know what it is? It's the needy little girl in The Rider wanted to hold on to her daddy. And hey Annie, what's up? But so I mixed that with, I happened to be reading a book, listening to a book by the great therapist and writer Alice Miller. If y'all haven't read any Alice Miller, I mean, she's killer. So I was reading a book called, it was called The Body Never Lies, The Lingering Effects of Cruel Parenting. And it was all about the commandment, honor thy father and mother. And it went through, and she analyzed great artists and writers, Proust, Virginia Woolf, James Joyce, and she talked about how they would get sick physically and die and commit suicide because they couldn't name the truth about their parents, because their parents were friggin' monsters. But back then nobody knew to hold the parent accountable. And a very powerful book, pulls no punches, brilliant book. And I quoted a lot of I sounded smart. Hey Cement, what's up? I sounded sort of smart on the video just because I was quoting Alice Miller. I'm not that smart. But if you haven't checked out that book, Alice Miller, The Body Never Lies, The Lingering Effects of Cruel Parenting. So I had the movie that just blew me up. I had the book. And then I remembered a guy named Dennis Green, who used to be the coach of the Minnesota Vikings. But before he was the coach of the Minnesota Vikings, he was coach of the Arizona Cardinals. So, back many, many years ago, I watched the game. It was a Monday night football game. I was cooking dinner, and the Cardinals had a 4-touchdown lead in the second half and got beat by the Bears. And then there was this all-time great rant. This coach says, "We knew they were what they thought they were what we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. They were what we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. If you want to crown their ass, then crown their ass. But they were who we thought they were." And it made me think. About how in that movie, the writer in the Crazy, Insane Family, that coach, did he get fired for that? It was a rant. It was a rant. They were who we thought they were. In other words, they sucked and we were whipping their ass. But then, okay, he did cuss. I remember he did cuss. But, then they came back and beat him because we gave it away. He was mad. But that's what we're taught by society. We're taught to let our parents off the hook. So I just got all worked up and made that video, and it's getting a lot of views. So anyway, let me take a throat drop here because I've been talking all day long. There's not a whole lot of people on the show tonight. Maybe it's because we started a half hour late. Maybe that sort of threw people's mojo off. I don't know. Okay, so Melody Joy wrote me a question about this video. She says, "Is it common for narcissistic parents to choose one child over another child? I have that with my mom. She must be British. She has always favored my brother over me. I get blamed for things I haven't done, and I get punished badly for it. But if my brother does something wrong and it's obvious, she doesn't even discipline him for it. And I'm not a bad child either. I'm shy, and I mostly keep to myself. I've never felt loved or cared for by my mom. She's never been emotionally available." Hey, Tawana. Tawana sent the nicest comment around the wedding video. It just almost made me cry. It was very sweet. Thank you. I've never felt loved or cared for by my mom. She's never been emotionally available for me, but she has been there for my brother. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm not old enough to move out. Oh, this is a young kid. And knowing this has made me resent her a bit. Of course it does. I also had a suicide attempt a couple years ago, and all I remember is her saying, "You're going to hell." Oh my goodness gracious. So, Melody Joy, yes, it's very common for narcissistic parents to have favorites. In my family, I was a baby who cried a lot, maybe because I was induced. And after being induced, I was like completely abandoned for the entirety of my first 3 years of my life, So, and then my little brother came along, and he was the perfect blue-eyed baby boy, smiled all the time, just he was good-natured. and I was just crying all the time. But you know what? I felt invisible. And the reason, Melody Joy, the reason that these narcissistic parents favor one child of another is not out of love for the golden child. It's because the golden child somehow feeds their narcissistic supply. It's never about love. It's about whatever feeds the narcissistic supply. And my little brother was easy to take care of. He was cute. He was adorable. All I did was yell and scream and carry on. So, God bless you, Melody Joy. You don't deserve a mother like that. You deserve to be loved. Let's pray for Melody Joy. And I can see why you would attempt suicide with a horrible situation like that. In the movie, the writer, Jeanette Walls, sort of was the favored child, but she was only the favored child because she rescued the father, and he was able to manipulate her and use her for his narcissistic supply. Okay, so that's the only question I've got. There's only 20 of us online. I'm goofy. My throat is sore. So y'all are going to need to carry the show. All I have is a pretty hat working for me tonight. All right, so anybody with some questions? Anybody with a joke? Anybody with a comment? I'm going to get my tiger out and make him start pacing. I pissed somebody off. You know what? When I do this about pacing, I wasn't meaning to be disrespectful. I know what it's like to fucking pace the back of a room. I paced the back of a room for a year and a half. So I wasn't making light of that. It really offended somebody, and I sure didn't mean. Andy says that he was the golden child by virtue of being the only boy with three sisters. If you're the only boy with three sisters, you're going to be the golden child. Just write that down. My best buddy in high school was Italian. Joey Balala. Are these Canadian colors? Red and white? That's not a Canadian symbol. That's a South Carolina symbol. Tiffany, what's up? Being an INFJ, I'm in the best career. Really? You know, Sarah, the thing about being an INFJ, you can be inspirational, but the thing is I'm so introverted that I get to the end of the day and I get tired. I'm tired. I miss my wife and I'm tired. I got Canadian colors and the maple leaves. All right. Hi, Ginger. Hey, gorgeous people. Ginger thinks we're gorgeous, so that's pretty good. So yeah, I love being an INFJ, but tell you what, sometimes I get tuckered out hanging out with people so much. Okay, I was telling you a story about my Italian friend. So Joey Balala was the third oldest, and they were second oldest, and there were three other sisters, and they were all really cute. And my family was crazy and mean, and his family was subtly crazy, of course, but they were pretty nice, and there was no squirrel. There was no yelling and screaming. And hi, Martha. Martha had a really good comment for us this week too, which I appreciated. So I would go visit Joey's house. His grandma would pinch my cheek and say, Maki, Maki. And they would feed me Italian food, and I get to flirt with the sister. I wanted to marry one, but it didn't work out. So Ginger says, great video on your movie review of The Glass Castle. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't go, Jackie has a question. I don't go looking for material. I wait for it to tap on my shoulder. But I tell you what, watching that movie, reading that book, just lit me on fire. Okay, so Jackie says, how can we reinforce boundaries when others will not respect them? You got to get you some consequences. People win. You just enforce the consequence. If you set a boundary and the consequence doesn't work, you get yourself a bigger consequence. So, okay, let's move on to forgiveness. Rose, who I know, she asked, why shouldn't we forgive our narcissistic parents? Doesn't that release us from their power? No! No! No. You know what people do is they're told to forgive prematurely. You don't work through your issues, and then you end up putting up with a narcissistic spouse. That's what happens. What people do is they prematurely forgive somebody they really haven't forgiven. You can work towards resolution within yourself, and you can forgive a narcissistic parents, but you don't honor them in film. My God, it's like honoring Hitler as a good government official. No, you can resolve your own issues in yourself, but it's only through much anger, confrontation, directness, assertiveness, boundary setting, and holding them accountable and not blowing smoke up their ass. Andy says, my narcissistic father said today they nearly drowned in the swimming pool and he had to be rescued. I'm not sure if he's attention seeking because I'm ignoring him or if he had a stroke. Okay. Jackie, Mark, how do I react when somebody shames me in public when I have done nothing that I believe is inappropriate? Well, Sideways, what's up, dog? How's it going? So I had a situation where I was publicly shamed, about worse than anybody I've ever known, by a relentless narcissist who had many YouTube channels saying horrible lies about me. She made about 250, 300 videos, said horrible things. You know what? How I responded? I didn't say a thing. And it didn't bother me at all. Because I know who I am. So if somebody shames you publicly, it just depends on the situation. If you have a power to voice something appropriately and respectfully, then go ahead and do it. But don't feel a reactive need to set the record straight. You know, I knew who I was. I never mentioned this person's name. I never will. So if they shame you, you privately walk away. That's what I did. I just ignored it, and I figured anybody who listened to a nut job, I don't care what they think about me anyway. So I wouldn't take it too personally if somebody shames you publicly. You can't control that. But if you get reactive and you get in a snit and a public battle with them, then you sort of get drugged down your own self. Okay. Andy knows who I'm talking about. She contacted him and subscribed to his channels. The videos are crazy. There's so many of them. Okay, let's get off of her. I'm just saying, honestly, I don't know anybody who's been more publicly shamed and lied about than I have, and it never bothered me in the slightest bit. Okay. Ginger. I've not had a relationship with my mother for the past 35 years because her narcissist preacher husband won't let us be alone, and I refuse to be around him, so I lost my mother. That's a sad story, Ginger. That sucks. There's a lot of ministers who are more narcissists than men of God. Robert says, since I busted out my stepfather, malignant psychopath narcissist, it's been bad for me. My family is smearing me and saying I'm evil and may cause a divorce. You know what? So what? Who cares what people think? You know? You just got to be solid in knowing who you are and be in your recovery and be accountable and be a good person, and you'll be good. Tiffany says, hi, Rose. Rose, let me tell you about Rose. She said I could make a video about this. So Rose is working hard on her codependency recovery, and Rose had a cabinet for a desk, and it was sort of ugly, and it occurred to her as she was building her self-esteem. Oh, that's a different Rose. Okay, I'm talking about Rose up here. Where'd she go? One that asked about why can't we forgive the narcissistic parents. She's up here somewhere. Can't find her. The Rose that I know, she knows who she is, but she's been going to 12-step meetings, and so she did something especially cool. A Rose by any other name. So what she did was, she didn't like her desk, she didn't like her workspace, and she had a nice desk up in the attic and a nice sewing table, and she likes to sit by the window, which also has good internet connection. So she got her kids to help her, and now she has this beautiful desk, beautiful work area, bathed in sunlight, and it feels like she gave herself a promotion. Isn't that cool? As a codependent, you can give yourself a promotion. When I moved here to the beach, I got out from under a lot of debt. I got away from a big house payment. I got to live in a resort with a bunch of cool people. And I get to get up and go to the beach every day. I gave myself a big fat raise. Rose Campion. Okay. I've got windows bothering me here. I don't even know if y'all can still see me. 2, 5. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Jackie says, what does Jackie say? Jackie says they were extremely inappropriate in a restaurant with a child at the next table, and I said, "Oh, speaking of inappropriate," as I waited until, darn it, let me see if I can scroll down. What I did, I waited until they were extremely inappropriate in a restaurant with a child at the next table and said, "Oh, speaking of being inappropriate." It's hard when you see a child being abused. Yeah, good for Rose that she gave herself a raise. She has beautiful workspace and she's thrilled about it. When you're good to yourself, it doesn't even have to cost you money. I don't think it cost her any money at all. But she gave herself a raise, gave herself a corner office with a view. I just thought that was so cool. Sarah says, what did Sarah say? Where'd she go? I can't control this thing very good tonight. We had to set up but move a drawing table to the family room in front of a picture window. It was too isolated. Okay. Mark, the person who shamed me was swearing and talking about porn, etc., with a child sitting at the table. Sorry, I think you heard me wrong. Okay. How did they shame you by swearing and talking about porn? Was it just embarrassing? Little head scratching going on here. Ew, says Tiffany. Kelly says, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm tired of fighting the narcissist. Can't we just have peace? It is never ending and wearisome. You know what I found out? I've gone to eliminating the narcissists in my life, and I ignored the one until she got bored that I wouldn't play. And honestly, I haven't had to do battle with a narcissist in months. And it is lovely. What I did was, as I said, it's a poem by David White. I turned sideways into the light and I disappeared. I chose not to fight. I chose to get my space and take care of myself and experience a new home, a safe home, a true home. Another Rose said, I just watched the video you were talking about, Mark, and I agree with you completely. Okay, so where's my tiger? Jackie says, no, they shame me for discussing that my husband was half normal because he takes med, and said I was saying it in a store, which was inappropriate. Sometimes it's not what somebody says, it's how they say it. You can say something really inappropriately. So these were like perfect strangers. So haven't had dinner tonight and no wife to prepare me dinner, so I'm going to enjoy some almonds. These are roasted salted almonds, just to tide me over. So y'all are just chatting back and forth, and I love the community that we have. And I'm going to crunch almonds. Rose Campion signing off to do bedtime routine for the kiddos. Good night and thanks. Well, you're most welcome. Really wonderful, sweet lady who's doing good recovery work. Is it pretty entertaining to watch me eat almonds? Probably not. Annie says it is entertaining to watch me eat almonds. So there's that. Andy says this might sound weird, but I'm kind of glad I had narcissistic relationships. I've healed my child bullshit so much over the past year and made a community of decent people. How about a community of friggin' awesome people? Yeah, I know what you mean, Andy. Man, my narcissistic abuse about killed me. But I am grateful for I wouldn't want to go through it again. But I'm grateful because I got more work done in 28 months than I did in 55 years. So I'm glad for the work that was able to be done. Oh, decent means awesome in British. Okay. Really? I know brilliant, but I didn't know decent. You know what I learned about the British? I was working with this British couple the other day, and they said they were having pudding. And I said, what kind of pudding is it? And they said, when you have pudding in Great Britain, it just means you're having dessert. It was actually cake, but you call it pudding. Pudding means dessert. I think we're having a pretty decent show tonight. I'm comfortable with silence. There's Emotional Detective. Is that like a nun outfit you're wearing in the picture, Emotional Detective? When you eat almonds with salt, you get to lick your fingers. Yahweh saves. I need a therapist. I need an attorney. I need help. I have no family. So, Yahweh Saves Family Tree can help you with a therapist. It costs you a little bit of money, but we have some discounts available. Emotional Detective says, yes, this picture is from a runway by St. Paul. A runway? What's a runway? Does anybody hear me? I don't have any money. I don't have any family. A fashion show. Emotional Detective, or are you a model? Sarah asks. Yeah. You know what you can do, Yahweh, is tune into this show and send in questions, and you can watch a lot of YouTube videos, and it's all free. As soon as I shut up talking and started eating almonds, the viewership is up. Sarah says she's an artist, INFP. So Sarah's close. She's a P and I'm a J. And I'm also an artist. Miss Renda is in Alabama. She had to go to Alabama. She owned a piece of property and the closing day was today. And to keep her narcissistic, monstrous ex-husband from stealing all the money, she needed to go down there and she needed to advocate for herself and get her money. So she will be back tomorrow. No, I am not in Indiana. We go back about once a month for 4 days. But no, we are in South Carolina. Emotional Detective is enjoying some lovely roasted pecans. Remember that scene in when Harry met Sally, and he talked about pecan pie? South Carolina. We were keeping that a secret a while, but since I wear the hat, it has a South Carolina logo on it, sort of gives it away. Yep. I'm thinking about enjoying a nice protein bar too, since I'm hungry. Yahweh saves. There is help available. Just reach out for it. Get the help you need. Sarah made this reference to the movie When Harry Met Sally, when Meg Ryan has the fake orgasm in the restaurant, and then some old lady has to order and she says, I'll have what she's having. I don't think this protein bar is gonna be orgasmic for me by any stretch. When Renda and I went to Paula Deen restaurant, it was the best okra, fried okra. Oh, it was just ungodly good. And the best greens and the best catfish, the best pot roast. And then they brought us the best banana pudding. Renda says it was better than sex. So I don't know what that's a commentary on, or marriage, or the deliciousness of the pudding. I'm the eatinest YouTube live show host ever. It's just, I was busy all day. Fried pickles are good. Oh man, Sideways says Paula Deen will put some Southern in your mouth. I'm telling you, it was one of the best meals I ever had. And counting the iced tea, it was less than $30 plus tip. It was just an amazing, delicious, stunningly good meal for anybody who is around a Paula Deen. Everybody loves us some Renda. And he says, did you guys know that I re-released Renda's most popular video, The 7 Hurts of Narcissistic Abuse? And that's the first video she's had on there for a long time. She was narcissistically abused by proxy by this woman who was hassling me, and she just got tired of being attacked. Renda doesn't mind if I eat nuts. These are low on carbohydrate, and they'll fill me up. She's okay. If she was here, Sarah has duck salad at Maxwell Plums in San Francisco. I want some duck salad. Questions, people. Anybody got any questions? Hey, check it out. We went to the aquarium, and I got a new rock. It says Courage, and it has a shark on it. And I have a rock that says Safety. Yahweh, please, with all due respect, food doesn't have anything to do. Yahweh, you know what? You're gone. I don't like your attitude. There was something about her that just didn't seem right. I think it is the Ripley Aquarium. Food has something to do with a brother when he's hungry. Okay, Smooth and Chunky. What's up, Smooth and Chunky? Does anyone here suffer from both PTSD and adult ADD? I do. I do. Yeah, complex PTSD and ADD, and sometimes I'm all trembly and I don't know if it's the ADD. I burped. I don't know if it's the Hey, Smooth and Chunky. I don't know if it's the ADD or the PTSD sometimes that's making me feel all trembly. Squirrel. Brenda doesn't like it when I do the squirrel thing, but she's not here, so I can't get in trouble. More questions. Smooth and Chunky, do you take medication for your ADD? I'm so disorganized and I need help. Yes, Smooth and Chunky, I take Focalin, 10 milligrams in the morning, and it sharpens my brain. Y'all know my brain is sharp as a tack, sharp as a steel trap. Not. But yeah, the Focalin is very helpful. It doesn't keep me from sleeping, and it helps me not to have foggy brain. Annie, how do you know when you can back off counseling when you are navigating narcissistic abuse? Fear. I don't think you ever back off counseling. I just got a call today from a new therapist where Renda and I are going to be doing some couples work, and my doctor referred me to an individual therapist. So never back off the therapy unless you just simply can't afford it. But I'm blessed and I have good insurance, and I pay $12 a session. So we'll tell you how that works out. This is a really good protein bar. It's all chewy and chocolate. Sarah says she's disorganized by nature. Now I'm picking my teeth. I was disorganized by the PTSD and the ADD, but I'm treating it with medication. I'm exercising. I'm losing weight. I'm doing peaceful walks on the beach. The therapist goes on for a long time. The therapy. It does for me. I love going to therapy. I think it's like going to the spa. I tell that to my clients, and they're like, "You are so full of shit. Going to you is not going to the freaking spa. Going to you is like going to the dentist. You'd be drilling into our business, you know." But I experience it like going to the spa. I just like going. So Sideways was taking Vyvanse, but it got too expensive, and it had amphetamine. But I made employment a pain, and I may be starting something else. My protein bar got stuck in my throat. Annie says, is it the best plan to stay with the same therapist? I guess I'll be starting from scratch. Well, a lot can be said for staying with the same therapist. If you got a really, really good one, don't switch. But if you leave the state and they don't do Skype therapy, you got to go looking for a new therapist. And I think a new therapist can offer a fresh perspective. They don't have to be the best therapist in the world for you to do good work. You can teach them some things. Okay, we've got all kinds of good comments. Ginger, why does it get worse each time you are love bombed back into a relationship? Well, because your body's still holding the trauma from the other 6 times, and then you get pounded again. So that's why it's worse. Robert says, I backed off therapy, but it was a bad idea. At least he journals, but I wish I journaled more. Rumination started getting worse. Andy says, I still haven't been to therapy since my narcissistic relationship ended. I know I need to. I've learned a lot there, and I'm doing okay. Dude, go to a therapist. Jackie says, my therapist is the only man I'll cry in front of. Now I'm swallowing it down the wrong pipe. Sarah says she had not gone to therapy in 18 years. I just believe in it, not because it's my profession, just because it's benefited me so much. In 2 weeks, we're returning to Indianapolis for 4 days, and I have a drink. I have some lovely dragon fruit vitamin juice in this container. So it's okay to cry in front of people, Sarah. It's okay. I cry in front of people in half the videos I make. I made one on poetry not too long ago, and the poetry is so beautiful that it made me cry. So, Robert says, the therapist I worry about if they knock me down when I'm vulnerable. Jackie's great nephew is going to school in Indiana this month. Which school? My kids went to IU, but my former wife and I went to Purdue. My great nephew, not my nephew. Nom, 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 nom. The last therapist I saw was a dick, Andy says. Kind of judgmental and put me down. I went Culver Academy. Wow, that's prestigious. It's hard. It's a military school, but it's very prestigious. And beautiful, beautiful campus. I've been to their campus several times for cross-country meets. I went to a therapist early in my recovery from narcissistic abuse, and she was just a vicious, cold, nasty so-and-so. She diagnosed me as having borderline personality disorder. We get to the end of the session, and she go, well, we'll talk about that next week. Our session's over. And I'd be bounced out of there in like 45 minutes. So Kelly says, I had a therapist who would ask me questions about my mom's camper trailer and wasted most of the session. What the hell was she talking about your mom's camper trailer? I think a lot of therapists might be narcissists themselves, or misguided empaths and codependents. No. So I can talk more because I'm through my protein bar. My daughter went to a therapist that gossiped behind our backs, a violation of professional ethics. All right, we're starting to go down a therapist bashing road, so let's not go there. My new therapist doesn't have that superiority thing going. So far, so good, says Robert. So let's do this. Let's share things that you're grateful for. Let's pretend it's Thanksgiving. We're sitting around the Thanksgiving table, and Fernanda, who I think goes to my wife, she likes the yum yum noise. Yum 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 yum. No, Kelly, I'm not saying you were bashing it, but just as a group, we were starting to go down that path sideways. If therapists put you down, then you should think of firing them. I can't emphasize EMDR enough. Mine is very open. We have a good bond. He takes insurance. That's awesome. I love going to therapists who take insurance, but I don't. It was just too unhealthy to be in relationship with insurance companies. Ginger says, the hoops he has jumped through to get me back have been off the charts impressive. I was a fool for believing him, and only took a few days before my anxiety kicked in again. Annie says, I'm grateful for having a wonderful non-narcissist boyfriend. He's affectionate and warm. All right, I might be going offline again. It's making that offline. No, I'm good. We're good. Tiffany says, I am thankful for the opportunity to be able to work and be self-sufficient and self-respecting. Robert says, I'm glad you are all validating my experience and supporting me when I need it. Annie, if you could clone your boyfriend, there's multiple women who'll take the, what'd you call him? Non-narcissist, affectionate, and warm. All right. Your husband is an INFP. Also, I wonder how much that happens where the husband, the spouse, is the same letters as you. That's probably rare. I would assume it's rare. I was expecting my vitamin juice and I got coffee. Jackie says, my husband is unique. It doesn't sound like that's a compliment. Oh, Andy says, whatever happened to Jerry Wise? I like this video. Well, I'll tell you that story. We were being narcissistically abused by proxy, and this vicious narcissist complained to the licensing board, and Jerry was operating as a life coach and not as a licensed therapist because he's got a master's degree but not a license. And frankly, I was forced to let him go. Best therapist in the state of Indiana, sweetest man you'll ever meet, brilliant therapist. All his old videos are on our channel. And if you look up Jerry Wise, he has a new YouTube channel. He has a new Facebook, and I highly recommend him. I've known that man since I was 17 years old. And I quoted him in this recent video I made about not letting narcissistic parents off the hook. Okay. Yeah, it was bad. I had to fire not only my best therapist, who I've known since I was 17, but I had to fire my future wife, Miss Renda. Because of the silly attacks of a narcissist who put pressure on a government agency who didn't know what a clown she actually was. Annie, part of honoring thy parents is holding their feet to the fire if they need it. Now, Annie is speaking metaphorically. I can see some of you grabbing hold of your narcissistic parents and trying to light their toes on fire. I don't think that's what Annie is saying. I think she's saying hold them accountable. If these knuckleheads in the movie would have had their feet filled with fire, they'd have burned in hell in an instant and turned into ashes. So Tiffany says, write down every ugly thing they did and put it in the mirror and look at it every day. It's funny you say that, Tiffany. One of my most helpful activities to keep me out of cognitive dissonance, when I was in a treatment center, I went and I got 4 big pieces of cardboard paper, and I just wrote down all the things that described the narcissists that I had been involved with. I'm going to see if I can locate that on my pictures, and I'll read it to you. But and I had it taped up when I was in the treatment center, and I had it in my closet for a long time. But let's see if I can locate it. It might take me a little while. It's been 28 months. What's the mirror comment? What did you mean by there wouldn't be enough mirror? Okay, so I'm looking and looking and looking. Did anybody else watch the marital ceremony? I cried. I had to borrow a hanky from my brother because I was just really sad. Okay. This really was an extremely healthy episode, healthy tool for me to write these things down and have them on my wall, because I'd been in denial for so long that I didn't realize how I had to remind myself how vicious and horrible and disgusting and abusive, that she really was. So I'm still looking for my list. Ooh, there's that person. Yucky, yucky, yucky. I'm getting closer. When you do the show by yourself and you run out of words, you have to whistle. Getting closer, closer. Mark, I mean that there are too many bad things to write about to fit on a mirror. Hence, there wasn't. I gotcha. You were talking about pasting things on the mirror. Gotcha. I'm on a mission to find these written down comments that help me to maintain a grip on reality. I'm all the way back to my you're scaring Leo. He's trying to eat. Sorry, Leo. The whistling? What's scaring Leo? Okay, I had a trip to San Francisco a year ago, June. I'm back there. We're probably still pretty far away, but I'm still looking and looking, and it'll be worth the wait. Looking. Tawana, the anniversary of my shattering is coming up on Labor Day, and I'm getting anxious. What would be helpful to cope and get through the day? How many years has it been? Answer me that. To answer your question, as you come up on your anniversary, there are lots of things that you can do. Get a massage. 1 year, I'm sorry to hear that. Get a massage. I went back to the scene of the crime, to the place where the narcissistic abuse first took place. Getting closer. Oh, no, that's not it. Go to a group therapy meeting, go to therapy. There's a lot of things that you can do that will help you to get healthy. Okay. Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm looking up a document of notes that I had made about my narcissistic abuser, my borderline from the pits of hell, and seeing if I can read that to you. And I think that I am close. Got lots of good pictures from my kids. My kids. I didn't know I had... Oh, I found it! You know what? This is ironical. These documents were saved on August 15th, 2015. 2 days to the day. 1 year for Fernanda too. Okay, so I wrote down, she's a bad cook. She's a horrible housekeeper. She's a fraud. She's the best liar I ever met. I wrote it down like in color. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think you guys can see it, but I wrote it in color with markers. She's unable to see me as I am. She's self-destructed. She's a collector of bias rescuers. The relationship does not serve me. She's dense. I became expendable. She has never... she has newer narcissistic suppliers. She hates my daughter. She projects unfaithfulness. She wasn't impostable. She sucked my lifeblood. She's extremely weak. She's filled with bitterness. She's unfaithful, but sexually generous with me. And that held me under her power. She's a living nightmare. She's a 2-year-old. She's bad news. She's a hit and run driver. She's greedy for attention. She's emotionally violent. She's an abandoner. She's mommy dearest. She's looking for Mr. Goodbar. She's a sadist. She's 1 in 100 people. She's wicked. She has a vampire little son, and she's the object of my, I guess it says neurosis. Okay, that was only one. Kim says, I hope Brenda comes back because you sort of suck without her. You guys work well together and it takes the pressure off you. This woman is crazy making. She's the devil. She's a liar. She's disloyal. She's cunning. She's baffling. She's dark. She's hidden. She's toxic. I know. I was just kidding. She's dead to me. She's a throat cutter. She's fat. She's unfaithful. She's untrustworthy. She's poisoned. She's physically abusive. She's a mocker. She's unteachable. She's filled with self-hatred. She's untrustworthy, undeserving, a con artist. She enjoys my torture. Annie, are you checking out? The C word. I don't use the C word, but you fill in the blanks. She's financially dependent. She's an object of my rescuing. She threw me away like I was a piece of garbage. She enjoyed my torture. She's a man-hater, user, a relationship addict, a financial dependent. She used sex as a tool. She was ruthlessly insensitive. She spits in my face. She did not care if I committed suicide. She's way worse off than the worst narcissistic abuser I was involved with, Christy. She never loved me. I trauma bonded with her. I was duped. I way underestimated her. She duped Dr. Baca, our marriage counselor. She has sex with every man who wanted her. She's a porn addict. She duped the treatment center. She's my worst enemy, is out to destroy me, is the master puppeteer, and a closeted narcissist. Kelly, I'm reading a list of things that I wrote down to describe the borderline that I was involved with for 6.5 years. That's what I'm reading, and I'm saying it'll help if you write it down. I still don't think you can see. You can't see it, but it's just poster board with me writing it down. She's narcissistic, filled with dark secrets. She's a pig. She's ruthless, a thief. She's entitled. She's a sex addict. She's violent. She's a great actress. She's a slut. She's a backstabber, humiliating, unimportant, a user, incapable of insight, a non-factor, cruel, a chameleon. She's an opportunity to heal. She's incapable of empathy. She's not real. She's rude, an actress, a liar, unsafe, an attention whore, an infant. She has no boundaries. She's the worst human being that I've ever known. She's a betrayer, a loser. She's boring. She's clueless and stubborn and irresponsible with money, and an alcoholic, loveless, dissociative, a rager, a prostitute, desperately needy, unworthy of me. It's wanting to restart. Sorry about that. She's a man-eater. Damn right. What happened to her? She disappeared. I have not seen her since May the 4th of 2015. She still lives in Indianapolis and works for an employer there. Haven't seen her since then. Haven't heard a peep out of her. She's without morals. She's a barfly. She had a double life. She was poor, disgusting, a soul murderer. She's mean. She's a bad mom. She's a posse leader. She's manipulative. She's my teacher. She didn't give a shit about me. She was not good for me. She took more than she gave. I never want to see her again. I think she grew up with a bunch of narcissistic Arkansas hillbillies, and there was a little bit of sexual abuse. She got even with me because I would sometimes abandon her emotionally. She gave me the first and second biggest shocks of my life. One, that she was cheating the entire time, and two, that she was capable of throwing me away like I'm a piece of garbage. She was fed by her posse. She was never sincere and never empathetically apologized. She diminished me. She feels hurt by me. She makes me sick to my stomach to think of her. She set off 2 nuclear bombs in my life in 7 weeks. She cannot do the work. She cannot handle my pain. Ultimately, she didn't like me very much. She's not afraid. She fucked half the guys in the bar she went to. She's angry, and she doesn't care about my sweet, wounded little boy. So I just taped this up, and every time I'd go in my closet, I would see it, and it would remind me. Jackie, your comment says you would have the energy to cheat. I think you meant you wouldn't have the energy to cheat. She is a sorry human being. Ginger says, I made the mistake of writing down all the bad things about my former boyfriend on paper, and he found my journal and read everything. Then he read all my texts. So what time is it? It's 9:51. We have 9 minutes till 10 o'clock, and a brother is that Todd. I didn't really get too goofy. Don't let them off the hook. They are who we think they are. Don't let them off the hook. They are who we think they are. Amen. And no, she cannot hurt me. I'm happy. I am happy in South Carolina. We have a lovely home. We have a lovely backyard. I have a Thunderbird and a Harley. I have a lovely, lovely, wonderful, loving, supportive, awesome wife. Star Child 33. Narcissistic parents are fucking horrid people like that with a kind of mental illness and should not have children. Can't argue with that. Don't let your narcissistic parents off the hook, and don't let your narcissistic significant others off the hook. Yes, I got a T-Bird. It's gold. And it's pretty. And I like beautiful, elegant things. I like to think that my car, if Lady Diana was alive and she drove, she would drive it. Or Jackie Onassis, maybe. Sarah said her dad had a 57 T-Bird. Mine's one of those cute 2005 anniversary editions. Oh, we're at 9:52. I'm going to try to make it 8 more minutes. I'm just exhausted. Tiffany, your Nars follows you into these chats? Seriously? What's a Thunderbird with suicide doors? I don't know. Ford Fusions are cool. Kim Van Note says, I look like Princess Diana. Sweet. Sweet. Well, I'll make it the next 7 minutes. I'll tell you guys a funny story. So when we first moved in, the movers didn't arrive till 10 o'clock at night. We unpacked, and I wanted to get my office settled because I had clients. Suicide doors are where the door handles meet. Got it. And so I had a 8 o'clock client with a young man, a wonderful man who comes to group therapy, JJ from Taiwan. And I did the best I could of seeing him, but so I ended up falling asleep on and leaning on the screen like this. And he woke me up, and I was like, sorry, I'd been up all night. Emotional Detective says, I also feel goofy when I'm tired and I don't make too much sense, sort of like Mark during this session. I need another cough drop. Andy says, Mark, we're talking about how it's not no contact unless you block the narcissist if they can still... Yes, you got to block them. Block, 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 block. Any narcissist in my life is blocked. I can't find another cough drop. I thought I had one. Yes, I don't believe it's truly no contact. I'm going to have a piece of gum instead because I cannot locate a cough drop. You got to block them. You gotta block them. A baby blue T-bird, sweet. Jackie says I'm punchy tonight without Brenda. Well, it really does help when she joins us. And I found out she's been gone for 3 days. I've had to do laundry, feed the dogs, do the dishes, run the carpet. My lovely wife does lots of things for me. I'm being attacked by a small moth. So, Elsie, I hope that now that having kids is not so much a social requirement anymore, narcissists stop having so many kids. A Triumph snow bike with extended forks to go with this Thunderbird. He was a cool dude. He sounds like a really cool dude. Ginger says, I haven't been able to block him yet because I might need to show police how many times I received texts and phone calls. Sarah says she's attracted by my light. My light. Is that the halo that's hovering over my head? I don't know. Oh. I'm the flame, and the little moth must be attracted to the flame. So, the moth, drawn like a moth to the flame. So, I strongly recommend blocking. It's definitely the thing to do. When I went to 3-minute warning, I'm going to sneeze. I sneezed twice. Mr. Paulie and Czar are here in the house, but they're just being shy. Reginald says, Mark, you are my brother from another mother. I like it when people say that. I've been following you from the beginning. Just want to thank you for the great advice and direction. God bless. We are brothers by another mother. I hope your mother was better than my mother. Polly! Mr. Polly! Polly! Come on, dog. I'm calling him. Here comes Zara. She's too big for me to lift up. All right, come on, Polly. Come on, baby. When I whistled, your dog came in the room. All right, come here, buddy. Come here. All right, I'm gonna hold on. I'm picking up Mr. Polly. Oh. Okay, there you go, Mr. Handsomeness. All right, don't go anywhere, dude. Woof, woof. My daddy is Mark Smith, and he is a good daddy. But my mama is way, 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 way better than my daddy. All right, he's wanting down. So there you go. There's Mr. Paulie. Hey, I love you guys. It's an honor to be in your community. Mr. Paulie was, I think, smiling. So, Jackie loves her some Mr. Paulie. Okay, it is 10 o'clock. Brother needs to go eat some hamburgers and get some rest. I've got like 5 hours in a row starting at 9 o'clock a.m. This was fun. And I'm sorry if I was a little goofy, but I wouldn't miss this show because I love the community that you share. You're welcome, Sarah. Good night, Tiffany. I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a song. Remember when Carol Burnett used to sing that? Ginger says, good night, Dr. Mark. I look forward to it, Annie, every week too. Sideways says it's time to wrap up. See you all next week. Thanks, Mark and everyone. Good night, nighty night. Signing off over and over. God bless you all. Watch the video. You like me, Goofy. That's good because that's all I got. So watch the video. Do not let your narcissistic parents off the hook. They are who we said they were. And don't let them off the hook. All right. Thank you for watching. God bless. We'll see you next week with my lovely wife, Brenda. Peace out.